Good day, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through a quick and easy jalapeno cheddar sourdough biscuit recipe. I'm going to start by adding 2 cups of all-purpose flour to my mixing bowl. And to that, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to then start mixing it in with my fingers until it is pea size. You do want that well incorporated. That's what it's looking like now. We're just about there. Once the butter is well incorporated, we are going to start adding the additional ingredients. We're now going to add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And these are your leavening agents since you're using sourdough discard. Next, we'll be adding 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Then we'll be adding 1/2 cup of medium ground cornmeal, 1 large jalapeno that's been de-seeded, and 1 cup of cheddar cheese. And then we're going to start mixing that until it is well combined. Now that that's combined, we're going to work on the wet ingredients. And the wet ingredients include 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 large egg, and 1/2 cup of sourdough discard. Once that's in there, I'm going to start mixing that well. You want to make sure that it's all well incorporated. Now we're going to add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. And I'm going to use my wooden spatula just to bring it together. You do not want to overmix the biscuit dough. I'm going to now start cleaning the sides of the bowl and continue to bring the dough together before I turn it out onto the counter. Now I'm ready to turn it out onto the counter, and I'm going to flour the counter well. This is somewhat of a sticky dough, and I don't want it to stick. I will also be adding some flour to the top of the dough, and then I'm going to start turning it on itself. And this is just building the layers of butter and incorporating all the ingredients. You do not want to knead the dough. I'll be adding flour to the counter as I continue to work with the dough. And now it's looking pretty good. I'm going to start pressing it out. As I start to do that, I realize it's sticking somewhat on the bottom. So I'm going to lift it up and add some flour to the bottom and then continue pressing it out. And you just want to make sure that the thickness is even when you're pressing out your dough. Now that I have the dough pressed out, I'm going to start cutting out the biscuits with a biscuit cutter. And this recipe will yield 12 biscuits depending on the size of your biscuit cutter. I actually got 11 out of this. The last one though is rather large because I decided I didn't want to waste any of the dough. I just pulled all the last dough together to make 1 large biscuit. And as you can see, the biscuits are cutting out nicely. Nothing is sticking. I'm bringing the remaining dough together to cut out a couple more biscuits. And I'll bring it together again, the remaining dough. And this is where I bring just the last of the dough together. Now that the biscuits are all cut out, it's time to put them on a baking sheet. This is what they look like before they go in the oven. They are going to bake at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And this is what they look like coming out. They look great. Now I'm going to place them on a cooling rack, but you do not need to wait to eat them until they're cool. They taste great hot out of the oven. Once I get all of the biscuits on the cooling rack, we will open one up to reveal the crumb. Let's see what it looks like. There we go, on the bottom, nice and brown. And look at the steam coming out of that. They are delicious.